It's pretty hard to get an Xbox Series X right now, and with the shortages expected to go through 2023, that doesn't exactly instill confidence. However, for most people, I don't believe the Xbox Series X is the way to go, at least initially. But let's find out why. Hey, I'm Sam with Busy Dad Gaming. I help busy dads figure out what games to play on Xbox so they can relax and go back to their families recharged. Being a busy dad means that your gaming potentially can be all over the place. So that actually means that the investment that you make into gaming has to actually make sense and potentially support that lifestyle. So does that mean it makes sense to go ahead and spend $500 on a new console, spend X amount on a new TV, and potentially, all these different peripherals, only to game for maybe a couple hours a week? Now, for some people, that actually might be a thing, but for most people, I would actually say no. Let's take a look at why I feel that the Series S is the best way to go this early in the generation, rather than a Series X. Now, before we get into the reasons why the Series S is a better way to go this early in the generation, let's take a look at some of the hurdles that we're experiencing with the Series X alone. So the first thing is that the most obvious reason, just supply. There's just not that many of them out in the wild, and to get one actually takes a lot of effort, and that shortage is expected to go through 2023, so this one was just kind of a gimme. Now, the next two items actually deal with price, and the first one is the price of the console itself. So this console already costs $500 US, so that's a big investment already to start. Now, the next piece on top of that is to really get the full use of that Series X. Assuming you don't have that stuff already, you're also looking at the console, the TV, and then audio. So you're already looking at potentially 3 different areas. Now, audio you could probably get away with if you end up going with a headset or something like that, but the TV itself, to really get the most out of the Series X, does need to be 4K 120. Now, the next two items actually deal with price. So first off, you have the price of the console, which is $500 US. The second major hurdle when it comes to price is the TV or the monitor that you end up going with. So you not only have the price of the console, you have the price of the TV or the monitor. Now, the TVs that are 4K 120 are around at least $900 going up, and $900 doesn't even get you a lot of the options that you would potentially want if you're already going after a Series X anyway. They're just now starting to hit mainstream, so the pricing on those things is still relatively premium. Now, over the next 2 to 3 years, as new technologies start to emerge, you'll start to see those prices starting to come down. So when it comes to a Series X, you're looking at the console, you're looking at the TV, you're looking at the features. This really is the biggest sticking point when it comes to getting an Xbox Series X. So if the biggest sticking point with the Series X is that it has a higher barrier of entry, the Series S, on the other hand, completely wipes that barrier out, and it provides value. So in this particular case, I feel that the Series S is geared more towards value and getting people within the Xbox ecosystem, or at least getting into the current generation at the lowest price point possible. So when you're looking at the Series S, you're looking at the price point, which is, basically $300 US. You're also looking at that you can leverage the existing technology you already have. So if you have a 1080p TV, or if you have a 4K 60 TV, the Series S is going to take advantage of that. Now, obviously, you'll end up missing out potentially on some of those backward compatible titles that potentially can get up to 120, but the Series S isn't really going after that high benchmark. So for most people, you're looking at the price of the console and then using the existing stuff you already have, like your controllers, your peripherals that you have, like your headsets and things like that, your TV or monitor. It's leveraging the ecosystem you already have. So you're only having to pay for the cost of the console to get into that current gen. Now, not only do you have just the price of the console, you also have the ability to couple it with Game Pass. And Game Pass really is, in my personal opinion, the best value in gaming today. You get access to hundreds of games. You get them access to on your Series S. You get access to all those backwards compatible titles in there. You also get access, if you have Game Pass Ultimate, you get access to the PC games that are made available, and you get streaming on top of that. So the Series S gets you into that entire ecosystem. Even if you don't even have the PC, you still have access to the streaming options within the game, and a lot of those are looking at touch controls are being updated on a lot of those games as well, so you're getting access on your phone on top of that. So it really does provide so much value comparative to other platforms in the space. Now, the Series S does have its drawbacks, just like with any piece of technology, and one of the biggest things is, one is it's not graphically as powerful as the Series X. Kind of goes without saying, but I'm saying it anyway. And then the other one is storage. It just does not have enough storage for most people, but it does at least give you the option to expand that storage, whether it's be via USB or the expansion cards. And I really do not suggest paying $400 for a 2 terabyte expansion card. That is insane. Now, the best part about the Series S is not only does it get you into the Xbox ecosystem or it gets you into current gen gaming, but it also gives you an upgrade path through the Xbox ecosystem. Now, the obvious next steps from a Series S is to go to a Series X and then also getting the TV on top of that. So you're getting the 4K 120 range. It gives you the opportunity to know exactly what the target is. So when you do buy a Series S, you can go be like, okay, I need to buy the Series X. And if I want the Series X, this is the kind of TV or monitor that I want to get with that. These are the kind of headphones or whatever I want to get as part of that. It gives you a pathway forward. Now, one caveat to all of this is that Tom's Hardware went ahead and wrote a piece that they feel that the Series S is already obsolete in today's marketplace. Now, although I disagree with their viewpoint and that opinion, I do foresee this over the next 2 to 3 years that could potentially be an issue depending on how things go with the ecosystem. And I say that because with game streaming and different things of that nature, you'll still have the ability to play Series X level games via streaming, depending on what kind of game it is, through the Series S browser. It not necessarily makes the console obsolete. You can still play games on it. You'll still be able to download them and play them locally. But from a graphical perspective, just like with PC, you'll have grades across the different consoles. So you'll have the high-end PCs that can go ahead and run everything on Ultramax. You have the Series X and the PS5, which is typically in the high range. And then you'll see the Series S more in the medium to low, depending on what kind of graphical options that they're giving from the developers. So this is something to keep in mind, that just like the old school Xbox One, it wasn't necessarily something that you saw go through the entire generation, but it was something that you could hold on to, play through the entire generation, and just enjoy and not have to worry about it going forward. Now, coming at this from a dad's perspective, if you have been with the Xbox since the original, then it's more of a matter of if, not when, you're getting a Series X. But if you have the Xbox One or the Xbox One S, then the Series S is just a logical upgrade, and it makes things more readily available to you to get into the current generation. The big caveat to this is if you have a big physical catalog, then this could potentially be kind of a downer because obviously you can't play any of them. So that's something to keep in mind. You may end up wanting to go with the Series X at that point because you have such a big physical library. Now, the other caveat to this is if you have a 1X, then I suggest you checking out my video on the 1X versus the Series S, because that'll give you more information on that. But if you already have a 1X, I would just wait until the Series X is more readily available, unless there is a specific game that you want that is only taking advantage of the Series X or S. In that particular case, depending on what your upgrade path may end up looking like, you may want to jump into a Series S just so you can play that game, depending on if you are looking at patience or not, and then going with the Series X. Otherwise, waiting for the Series X is the most beneficial if you do own a 1X. Now, if you've never owned an Xbox in your life, then the Series S is hands down the easiest way to get into the Xbox ecosystem and will provide you the most value, just hands down. Ultimately, it really just comes down to what kind of games you want to play, where you want to play them, are you looking to upgrade your TV over the next couple of years, and whether or not you care about the best version of the game. Those are some of the key questions to ask yourself when it comes to getting a Series S or X. From what I've seen for most people, they are very happy with the Series S, and when the Series X eventually comes more readily available, then they'll go ahead and get it. But most people are happy with the Series S and what it is providing today. It is more readily available today comparative to the Series X or the PS5. And a lot of people that already have a Series X or a PS5, specifically the PS5, they're getting the Series S just so they can get a lot of those Xbox exclusive games that they want to play that they don't have the availability, whether it's PC or what have you. Now, if you're still unsure of what console to get, make sure to check out the playlist I have that goes over all these different options in greater depth that will help you better identify what kind of console you want to go with. So when you do decide to spend that effort and energy and money on it, you have confidence in the decision that you're making, and it is something that you're really truly going to enjoy. And with that, I'll see you out there.